Welcome back. You're tuned in to SimpleScaresFM82, where sometimes every little scratch tells a story. Tonight's tale is about two brothers, professional con men with their eyes on the long game. From staged accidents to a shiny lawsuit and that nagging little itch. If only it were their consciences. This one's called All Wrapped Up. The Crumb brothers were quite a pair, and thick as thieves. Well, to be more precise, con men. John, the younger and bit off a bum, who lived in a cramped, cluttered, dingy apartment where dust gathered like loyal witnesses to his laziness and often scolded by his brother to clean up, was the fall guy, quite literally. A professional victim who'd mastered the art of slipping, tripping, and crumpling to the ground at just the right angle. And David, the older brother, the sharp-dressing, shifty lawyer, the brain behind the con jobs, silver-tongued and eagle-eyed, and a briefcase always ready to snap shut on a fat settlement check. Together they'd made quite a career of accidents, a spilled soda in a grocery store aisle, a loose stare at a motel, and their latest masterstroke, Millbridge Mall, on a crowded Saturday afternoon, the glint of freshly mopped tiles, John collapsing in theatrical agony, clutching his shin. Witnesses gasped, security and retail personnel panicked, and within the hour John had his prize, a pristine white cast fitted by their third accomplice, a doctor at the local hospital, who had turned a perfectly healthy leg into a convincing stage prop. Everything was all wrapped up, the perfect setup. The lawsuit was filed almost immediately. The brothers would be suing the retailer for a hefty sum, and all they had to do was wait. 3 weeks. 3 long, festering weeks. Returning home to his cramped, dingy living apartment, John lazed about in the clutter and perpetually grime. And as usual, when David visited, he scolded John countless times to clean up, but old habits die hard, and so that background stench, a mix of old laundry, leftover food, and general neglect, would later mask the disgusting truth. It started with an itch, a small one, somewhere deep under the plaster. John scratched it with a wire hanger until sparks of pain shot up his shin. And that was when something answered. A twitch, a flicker, like something alive moving against his skin. John laughed it off. Hallucinations, from keeping the cast on too long. The doctor had warned him, after all. Don't remove it yourself. So he ignored the crawling sensation and told himself it was nothing. But the itch had spread. Then it burned. Then it pulsed as if his leg had developed a second heartbeat. By now, John had started to notice the subtle shift, the faint, almost imperceptible movements beneath the plaster. Yet the cast still held, perfectly white, perfectly smooth, as if everything was all wrapped up, a neat little package, hiding more than it should. By the time the court date arrived, John was sweating, trembling. His leg smelled faintly of rot, but most observers assumed it was just a faint hint in line with his usual unkempt state, the sort of thing easily dismissed among the stale odors of his life. David, annoyed, whispered, "For God's sake, pull yourself together. It's only a few more hours. Don't you dare touch that cast if the judge thinks you've been faking." And so John obeyed. He limped into the courtroom, every step vibrating with a sick squirming inside. He grinned through clenched teeth, pretending to be the tragic victim. And soon the case started. And as the judge asked questions, David spun his silky lies. But John, poor, unkempt John, couldn't sit still. He twitched, he scratched, he anxiously groaned, once, too loud, too sharp, and the murmurs rippled through the gallery. "Mr. Crumb," the judge said, frowning, "why haven't you had the cast checked?" 3 weeks, no follow-up, no X-ray, and that was the moment. John broke. The pressure, the crawling, the chittering noises, only he seemed to hear. He screamed as he anxiously tore at the plaster, ripping it open with a manic strength. And what spilled out silenced the entire court. Not a leg, well, not really. What sloughed out was blackened and wet, crawling with hundreds of pale, wriggling roaches, their shells splitting, their bodies nesting in a soup of rotted flesh. His shin bone glistened, gnawed raw and exposed, alive with insects burrowing deeper, chewing tunnels into marrow. The cast had not protected him. It had incubated them. Everything that had seemed neat and contained, all wrapped up, had only been hiding the horror, ready to explode. The courtroom erupted in shrieks. The bailiff gagged, and John, sobbing, howled, "They're eating me," as one final wave of glossy, hissing bodies poured from the hollow cavern where his calf used to be. So, listeners, they say fraud will eat you alive, but sometimes it's not a metaphor. Next time you see a shiny mall floor, or a man on crutches begging sympathy, take a second look, because parasites, be they human or otherwise, always know where to nest. If you enjoyed peeling back this story of rot and deception, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, so you'll always be first to hear the next tale that crawls out from the shadows. This has been Simple Scares FM82, where even the best laid schemes can crawl away from you. Sleep light.